And I believe that is also the duty of the judiciary and the legal profession. We are at one level very heartened by the fact that far more reporting of rape is happening. Sir, this is due largely to the introduction of provisions in the Indian Penal Code making it an offense not to register an FIR. And so we have seen an exponential jump in the recording of FIRs for sexual violence in the year 2013. After April 2013, when the statute came into force, there has been a huge increase in the recording of FIRs. Our challenge, however, is to see that these lead to their logical conclusion, which obviously results in either conviction or acquittal. It is not my suggestion here that every person who stands accused of sexual violence is guilty. That is, sir, in your hands. That's for the law to decide. But it is my suggestion that we are all entitled to our day in court and entitled to it expeditiously. It has become the rule, not that we want what happened, the judgment in the Nirbhaya case, to be the rule and not the exception to the rule. I know that symbols can be inspiring, but I think we have to go beyond symbols and make sure that everyone does receive the same degree of attention, the same degree of support, and the same degree of expeditious justice. I think Dayan Krishnan is here with us. He was special prosecutor for that case, and we applaud the work that he's done, but we would like the same assistance to be extended to every single survivor of rape. We do not wish to overstress the fact that rates of conviction are low. That, for me, is not the test of the success of a law. For me, the test of the success of the law is to what extent does the survivor take ownership of that law? To what extent are we in a position to make courts friendly to them? To what extent can we make sure that courts are not conflict zones? I've often said, because we deal with sexual violence in zones of conflict on our borders by the armed forces, of women in the armed forces. The United Nations has a resolution on this subject, and a recent general comment issued by CEDAW on what is the meaning of the word conflict zones. And I'm happy to tell you that I was part of the deliberations, and conflict zones have been defined, not just what happens on our borders, but also what happens within the country. There is conflict also within the country, and it is this conflict that we are seeking to address. We have seen these changes. We have seen citizen journalists. We have seen barefoot doctors. We are looking forward to barefoot lawyers as well. We are, if I may say so, looking forward to lawyers being the conscience keepers of the Constitution of India. It is with this intent that these two handbooks have been designed, ideally speaking, for any legal system to function optimally and to work for people and society. It has to feel motivated and in many ways challenged by systems outside the pale of the legal system. And unless there is synergy within and outside the legal system, we will find ourselves ending up in small skirmishes rather than winning the war. So, if I may return to these handbooks, are they a measure of awareness raising? Yes, there's nothing wrong with awareness raising. However, as I said earlier, it is our duty to engage with the law, not just as a learned profession, but as part of our culture. We want to see law become culture and culture become law. It is with this we want to ensure that survivors of justice, violence, lose the fear of law. We look forward to the day, it's very important, that the users of the law look upon the judiciary as a friendly place. I'd like to just end with a few words which I picked up from Justice Bhagwati. And Sir Bevan, it might interest you to know, I'm sure you do know, of course, that we have inherited the adversarial system from the British. But it was Justice Bhagwati who, in an insightful statement, said the adversarial system is not suited to the genius of the Indian people. And he gave his reasons. He said, because the adversarial system is based on self-identification of injury and self-selection of remedy. Those conditions simply do not exist for the vast masses of the people of our country, which is why the genius of this country produced the institution which we now refer to as public interest litigation. With these few words and on a note of great hope, I'd like to end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jaising, for your inspiring speech as always. Now, before I invite Sir Bevan to address the guests, we'll have a small presentation of bouquets. May I request Mr. Linus to hand over the bouquet to the Chief Justice, to the Honorable Chief Justice of India, Mr. Linus. May I now request Ms. Jaising to hand over the bouquet to Sir James Bevan. May I request Ms. Jaising again to hand over the bouquet to Madam Justice Ranjana Desai. May I now invite Sir James Bevan, the British High Commissioner, to address the guests. Sir Bevan.
Honourable Chief Justice Satasivam, Honourable Justice Ms. Desai, Honourable Additional Solicitor General Ms. Jaising, other very distinguished guests, friends and colleagues. I'm here this afternoon to show my personal support and that of the British government for your efforts and those of campaigners everywhere to prevent violence against half the world, to prevent violence against women. Sexual violence is a global pandemic. The official statistics say that 1 in 3 women suffer violence or sexual abuse at some time in their lives. Personally, I suspect that the real figure is much higher than that. This is a very personal issue for me. I have 3 daughters, of whom I am extremely proud and protective. I have spent most of my adult life working in the developing world, and in doing so, I think the biggest thing that I've learnt in the last 30 years is that the key to successful development, not just of a country but of the world, can be summarized in 2 words, which are empower women. And as well as being personal for me, this is very important for the government that I'm here in India to represent. The British government works around the world to fight discrimination and to fight violence against women. In 2012, my Foreign Minister, William Hague, launched a new global initiative, which you may have read about, designed to prevent sexual violence. This aims in particular to boost the capacity of countries, of institutions and of communities to stop sexual violence, to support the survivors and to end impunity for the perpetrators. We in Britain are proud of that initiative, and we're proud that it has gathered momentum and is now becoming an important international project. India, as all of you know, faces its own challenges in tackling violence and discrimination against women. Before I came here this afternoon, I spent some time reading the annual report which the World Economic Forum does on equality of women and men around the world. You may know this, the World Economic Forum produces this report once a year. The report